I didn't watch it.
They shrunk him down in one episode, him and Lois, and I think Jimmy, and they stuck him in a fucking Lego house.
That is amazing.
It's hilarious.
That is amazing. Yeah, I mean...
Speaking of Jimmy...
Oh, Jimmy Olsen from the very beginning.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen from the very beginning. So how do we work this out in our brains? If you think about it for about 6 seconds, unless you just want to blindly hate something, he introduces himself as Jimmy Olsen. As an agent for the CIA, he would never use his real name.
Nope.
His code name was Talon.
Yep. Homage to Court of Owls.
And he introduces himself as Jimmy Olsen, the photographer.
To Lois Lane, when she first shows up in Africa at the beginning of the movie.
But obviously that's not his real name.
No.
Because
he's a
he
CIA
is quickly
operative.
Smoked.
By KG Beast.
By
the dictator.
Yeah, by the dictator.
But he was found out by KG Beast.
By KG Beast. But the thing is that he would be forced to use real credentials.
Yep.
Which leads us to think that there's a real Jimmy Olsen out there somewhere. And it could be that he shows up at the Daily Planet and asks for a job, and
he goes,
Lois
I'm Jimmy Olsen. She's like, wait, what?
What the fuck?
You got smoked. I saw it.
But it'd be a different guy. Like,
yeah, it would
he
be.
would look different. Maybe
the real Jimmy Olsen that this guy's...
Maybe he'll be black.
Or whatever. Maybe he'll turn into a superhero. Shoot me in the face now, please. Jimmy Olsen. Anyway,
I guess we won't find out until Man of Steel 2.
Maybe.
Which
it's gonna be real hard for him to go get a fucking job.
Rumor is Brainiac, Man of Steel 2.
Well, that's not the big news, though.
What is the big news?
Director.
Oh yeah, Matthew Vaughn might be directing.
And if you don't know who Matthew Vaughn is, go watch First Class. Go watch Kingsman. Go watch Kick-Ass. Go watch. Go watch all these amazing comic book based movies that are out there.
We need to do a
Kingsman.
Kingsman and Kick-Ass.
I wouldn't hate it.
No, I wouldn't hate it either.
Join us next week as we talk about Kick-Ass.
Right. So this brings us to one of your big issues with this film, is the portrayal of Clark Kent.
Yeah,
by Henry Cavill.
So
tell me what your problem is.
Well, the whole point of the disguise of him blending in as Clark Kent is that he is the complete opposite of Superman.
Now, keep in mind, we haven't seen the 18 months leading up to this point.
We haven't, and we haven't. We don't see. We see a little bit of Clark Kent, but it's mostly just him as Superman. Or him when he's interacting with Lois, when he doesn't have to pretend. But it's the...
He doesn't pretend anyway.
Right, it's like the dichotomy of being
Not in this movie, at least.
This messianic, strong figure in Superman, and then you have the complete opposite, who is shy and meek, and he has his shoulders hunched over. And
nerdy.
Nerdy, and he can't...
Can type 80 words a minute.
He stumbles, and, he can't... he's like this weak guy because, as David Carradine pointed out in Kill Bill, Volume 2, that is Superman's image of us. That's how he sees people. And, and I like that. And Christopher Reeves pulled that off famously.
Well, Christopher Reeves is a great Clark Kent, but not the best Superman.
Well, his Superman was campy.
Whereas Henry Cavill, I think, is probably the best Superman.
I agree. I think Henry Cavill is an amazing
Christopher Reeves'
Superman.
Clark Kent was... I think Brandon Routh's Clark Kent was great, too.
Well, I mean, Brandon Routh was basically like a clone of Christopher Reeves.
It was
weird.
And I love the movie,
found
but
him in
everyone
a
fucking
bar.
hated it.
If I remember right, he was a bartender.
No,
really?
He was on Days of Our Lives or something like that.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, and then he starred in that, and then he got that Zack and Miri Make a Porno, where he was Justin Long's gay lover or whatever.
Yeah,
which was
St. Randy.
Yeah.
His porn star boyfriend or whatever.
He goes, what was that movie you were in again? You better shut your mouth before I fuck it. Yeah, I'm surprised I forgot that. That movie's so epic.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, so my argument to that is that I think that he's being Clark-like at the beginning and kind of the way he talks to Lois, and he abbreviates Lois to Lo. Like 4 letters is too long to say. But I think that he sees an injustice being done by Batman, and he pleads with Perry. He begs Perry.
Because he wants to follow the Gotham Bat story.
But he's also in this mind state as his real person, as Superman, as Kal-El, that the world has this certain viewpoint of him, and he just wants to disprove this. He's not this person. He wants to show the world that he's not this person.
He wants the world to see Superman differently, like he wants to
right, because Superman has now he was responsible 18 months ago for the battle with Zod and the destruction of the city when that's concerned, and then now this Africa
event.
Okay, and now he's sitting there going, because after the Congress explosion, he kind of disappears.
Yes.
And then he shows up on Lois's balcony, at some point in the middle of the night, and then whenever she's falling off the building,
then he saves her.
And then it's the final battle and all that stuff. So
yeah.
Coming up to this, it's the shit in Africa and the Zod fight. And people are like, he kills so many people, and he's like, that's not who I want to be, that's not who I am. And so that's why he goes to his mom, and he's like, oh my god, my mom, her name happens to be Martha, is so important to me. And it's his desire to try to out this Batman through real means, through media means, that he wants the story to be told.
He sees the character as being unjust because he's
judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah, and he said the police are actually helping this person. It's
yep.
like, well, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Makes their job easier.
He's doing 80% of their job.
But this kind of culminates.
He's not doing the paperwork.
Nope.
No. This culminates with him going to the jail and seeing the dead guy's baby, and he's like, "Fuck, this kid has to grow up without a dad. I grew up without a dad." And he kind of can.
And then it's like the mom and then the child are there, and then the mom's like, I knew who he was. He was a lot of things, but he was still, a husband and a father.
He wasn't a husband. He was just a father.
Right.
They weren't married or whatever. But yeah, he was still the
Way
father.
to stereotype Warner Brothers.
Oh, come on. Please.
And this is the guy, the dead guy we're referring to as the man who was branded by Batman and then murdered
after holding Asian women in a basement.
Held hostage. So not a lot of sympathy.
So maybe you shouldn't sleep with people that like to kidnap massive Asian women and transport humans.
She didn't know. Maybe
sex trafficking.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe she didn't know
she had a baby with a sex trafficker.
Well, maybe she didn't know he was a sex trafficker. Maybe she just thought it was, good old-fashioned cocaine.
Good old-fashioned cocaine. Way to stereotype Kalen. Just because he's Latino. Racist.
He was Latino?
I don't see color.
I don't see race or gender, Mr. Chang.
Yeah, shit.
30 Rock reference.
You just got onto him for making a Family Guy reference.
But 30 Rock...
Oh, come on. My Quagmire reference was way more relevant.
30 Rock
was
is
funnier.
the best show ever.
30 Rock's good. Not the best show ever.
It is.
You're wrong.
I don't know, man. I like Parks and Rec better.
Oh, it's
Are you talking sitcoms? The League.
Superstore?
Superstore's fucking great.
Right?
Notice how none of us said Brexit. Why did nobody ask? I'm Brexit. You notice how nobody said that stupid Vanessa Hudgens DC show with Abad in it.
Van Wayne?
Yeah, Van Wayne, whatever the fuck that show is.
Powerless.
Is it Powerless? Is that what it's
Wait,
called?
is that on the air now?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how good it is, dude. It's so good.
Well, it was better before. Like, they were working at an insurance company.
I watched one episode of it, and I'm like...
Oh, that bad, really?
Yeah, Sophie wanted to watch it. My daughter wanted to watch it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But then we get, behind on the CW shows, so...
Okay, well, I mean,
Maybe
first...
when it comes out in one season and it gets canceled after season one, I'll watch it.
Well, after the first incarnation of it was supposed to be, she's working at an insurance company.
This is making gadgets that will save people's lives.
Which
would have been handy for the dude at the beginning of this movie whenever he lost his fucking legs.
Right.
Because Lieutenant Dan failed. Lieutenant Dan, you got no legs. Let me help you up. And, Bruce Wayne picks up the thing. Lieutenant Dan.
Look at all the orphans.
Look at all these Robins.
I will call you Duke. It's cool, you're the only black one. Thanks, Duke.
I'm a girl. Shut up.
Shut up, Duke. Yeah. I'm going through notes here. Lex playing Clark the whole time. White Portuguese ship carrying kryptonite.
Why was that in your notes?
Why?
Yeah. Remember you asked me because you were hung up on the phantasm thing.
Phantasm thing, yeah, because they thought the White Portuguese would be a phantasm or what. I'm like, phantasm what?
Well, Alfred said that, or he's like, what do you say? The Russian will lead me to him, and him being the White Portuguese. And Alfred comments, he's like, assuming it is a him, he's like, this could all just be a phantasm. And James is thinking like Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh.
And then I asked about a bomb or whatever it was.
You're like,
if the
yeah. You're like, was there a dirty bomb in that movie? I was like, no.
Great
movie though.
Yeah. The next thing is
that is a total reference to it though, assuming it could be a him because the phantasm
was actually a woman.
Oh, right on.
Ha! There we got.
That was actually the big reveal in that movie.
Yep.
Because everyone, because the whole disguise and everything, you couldn't tell who it was, and then everyone just thought it was a guy, and then turns out it was Bruce Wayne's girlfriend. And if anyone's complaining about spoilers, the movie's been out for 20 fucking years, so...
Yeah, thanks guys. Spoilers. Assholes.
20 years.
Don't care.
25, actually, I think.
Bruce Wayne...
Either way.
Obviously is affected by this battle with Zod, where Superman is concerned.
Oh, yeah. Like he lost friends and employees and all sorts of...
And so
all the people he couldn't save.
He justifies, he justifies his anger and his rage by doing a count of the dead. And he talks about thousands, what's next, millions, and Alfred this whole time, throughout this entire fucking movie says he's not our enemy.
Right.
He's not our enemy.
Alfred is the sensible one in this movie.
And Bruce Wayne makes a statement, and he goes, 20 years in Gotham, we have seen what promises are worth. And Alfred's referring to, what if he promises to not be evil or, destroy the world. And he goes, we've seen what promises are worth, 20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left and how many have stayed that way? Which, I didn't have time to look it up, but that sounds a lot like something that Rorschach said in the beginning of Watchmen. When he's talking about the comedian. A lot like it. And that's something that we can look at later.
I can't recall.
But yeah, this whole movie is Lex Luthor pulling strings. Setting up everything to defame and deface Superman.
Yes.
Then pitting Superman against Batman because he knew who both of them were.
And he knew that Batman would take him out, because Batman is that paranoid.
Maybe, because he had already put in plans Doomsday. I think that
How did he know
thought,
to do that? Did he,
Because there was the Kryptonian files or whatever.
Archive.
Oh, so he accessed the archive and
found... that was the first thing that he did. Whenever he pushed it in, they're like, Kryptonian archives online. And then it cuts to another scene, because we don't want to see a guy sitting in a fucking library for, 3 hours learning that he can bring Zod into this goo and create something monstrous. Because even then, the computer goes, the council has, decided that this isn't right. And he goes, where's the council now?
Destroyed.
Gone. Then proceed.
I think it's the idea of having a backup plan. Which is...
Well,
but it was already in action. I really think that he thought Superman was going to kill Batman to save his mom.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, because the only two people who could really stop him was Batman or Superman, so if he could get Superman to kill Batman and then Doomsday to kill Superman, then there would be no one left to stop him. And he controls
Doomsday, and then he has effectively destroyed Wayne Enterprises.
Well, not destroyed it, but he
alien.
Got rid of the CEO.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He could swoop in and buy Wayne Enterprises at that point in time.
That's true, he could.
So you kill two birds with one stone. This is all Lex Luthor's plan. Yeah. I don't think people are willing to step back from their hatred of this movie and understand it. But that being said, we have to stop.
And we'd like to thank Maher
and Rock Bottom Comics. And Google search us, the
Comic Boot
podcast. Make sure you add podcast.
Yes, add podcast.
Because if you just put the Comic Boot,
you'll get all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's really weird. Just don't get lost on Amazon.
We're on Android, on Podcast Republic, thanks to Maher. iTunes, YouTube,
Facebook page,
Twitter.
Whatever. Anyway, we'll see you guys on Thursday. I'm James.
I'm Kalen.
I'm Cody.
Talk to you guys later.